Well, hello, YouTube. Steve Patton with General Patton Bushcraft. I'm back with you, friends. Super excited to bring you the show note of Alone, Season 13, Episode 3. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for stopping by General Patton's Bushcraft and Self-Reliance on YouTube. I appreciate everything you do for the channel and all your support. All right, friends, these are the official show notes or the official recap of Alone Season 13, Episode 3, titled Building Momentum. Now, friends, 8 people remain. 2 people have tapped out. These 8 people are up there in the Beaufort Delta region. It's the second largest delta region in the Arctic. And you know every show starts out with a famous quote from a famous person. And this show's quote is, quote, "I find that opportunities actually present themselves in unexpected ways, and that is what I want to be open to," unquote. And that's from P.J. Hirabashi. Okay, friends. The show starts up on day 7 at 8:31 in the morning, and it goes over to Will. Will is a 37-year-old from Alaska, USA, and he's showing us that he has some hot and stinky feet in those rubber boots. So he's got a good native trick, friends. He put some grouse feathers in his boots, and we learned that these grouse feathers prevent bacteria growth and absorb odors. And he's part of the INUPIAQ people. I don't know what the correct pronunciation of that is, but these are the native people up in northern Alaska, and he's part of that tribe. He walks the riverbank for tracks, and more leaves are starting to fall, he notices, in the mud. He heads up to check the trap line and finds one of his snares is totally gone, friends. Maybe a moose came through there and drug off one of those snares. But anyway, he starts to check the rest of the trap lines, and he gets a snowshoe, friends. So back to camp to make some soup for Will. All right, friends, still day 7. It's 11:52 in the morning, and the show goes over to Pedrosa. He's the 41-year-old from Lisbon, Portugal, and he's doing some dishes, friends, with some ashes. Ashes are high alkaline, lots of alkalinity in ashes, and they're great for cleaning and doing dishes. And actually, ashes are the primary ingredient in lye to make soap. So down to the river with some rabbit guts to fish, and he's sitting on the riverbank carving a box for berries. He hears a noise back at the shelter, friends, so he sneaks back up there, and he sees a big moose, grabs his bow and arrow, sees a second moose. Friends, there's 3 moose up there in the thick brush, but it's a female with 2 babies, he thinks. He keeps looking and wait. He sees some horns on a young male, friends. So he stalks him with his bow and arrow. He gets a shot off. He thinks he hits that male moose, but the moose run off. And he tracks him. He can't find him, friends. He thinks he hears some splashing in the water. He thought maybe they swam across the channel. He goes down to the water bank. Nothing. Can't see anything. No sign of moose anywhere, friends. So that night, he's sitting in his shelter. He's feeling terrible. He thinks he hit that one moose, injured it, and it got away. He thinks he also lost an arrow. He's feeling terrible, friends. He's second-guessing himself. He's saying that he doesn't belong. He's making comments that he's a bad hunter and he's a bad fisherman. All right, friends, it's day 8, 11:59 a.m. The show goes back over to Will. He's the 37-year-old from Alaska, USA, and And he's sitting in camp eating rabbit, friends. Finishes eating that rabbit from that rabbit soup that he made. And he starts on layer number 2 of the sod on his permanent shelter. And friends, he's using his big long silky saw, and he's cutting these big rectangle pieces of thick 6-inch sod, and he's insulating that shelter, friends. It's kind of a round permanent shelter, and he gets it all done except for the roof. He works all day, and it looks great, friends. About 3:27 in the afternoon, the last piece of sod goes on for Will. All right, friends, day 8, 3:36 p.m., and the show goes back over to Pedrosa, the 41-year-old from Lisbon, Portugal, and he's stoking his fire, friends, with what we call down here a pocket bellows, but this is a long one, friends. We learned that on day 1 or 2, he lost one of his broadheads on an arrow, so he's using that aluminum arrow as a tube to blow through it and stoke up that fire. So smart on Pedrosa. And he's looking for that arrow that he shot over by that moose, friends. And he finds that arrow. So good on Pedrosa. More opportunities for him. He's feeling pretty good that he didn't injure that moose. And also he found the arrow, so he's feeling pretty good. He checks the trap lines, and he snares another snowshoe rabbit. So things are looking better for the 41-year-old from Lisbon, Portugal. Okay, it's day 9, 8:32 a.m., and the show goes over to Poldy. He's the 24-year-old from Hokitika, New Zealand, and he's trying to eat some chime. The CHYME, friends, if you don't know what chime is, that's the ingested plant material that comes out of the stomach of that rabbit that he caught. He cooks it up, puts it with some hot water, and he eats it, and he says, woo, it's a little bit sour, a little bit bitter, but it's a little bit like a pesto sauce, friends. So he works a little bit more on his permanent shelter, that big old tripod teepee that he's building, and his strategy is just to work a little bit each day on that permanent shelter till he gets it done. We see him standing on top of the teepee frame, and it's super strong, friends, super strong. So good on Poldy. Okay, day 9, 11:09 a.m., and the show goes over to Jax. She's the only woman left, friends. She was the only woman on the show, but she's the only woman left amongst the 8. And she's the 40-year-old from New York, USA. And she's showing us all the bug bites on her hands, friends. They're swollen and bruised. And she shakes it off. She says today is shelter building day. She's feeling good, actually, friends. Got a great attitude. She goes to the location where she's going to build that permanent shelter, cuts a bunch of logs, and she's trying for a Hogan-style shelter from the 1400s that the Navajo people out southwest used to build. So she gets 4 walls set up, and her objective is to make it short and wide with the dome top. As she's building that shelter, friends, a rabbit comes into view, and she nails it with an arrow, and now she's feeling even better. Confidence is growing. She's feeling like a hunter now, and we see her that night, about 10 o'clock at night, sitting back in camp, eating rabbit, feeling confident. So good on Jack. Okay, it's day 10 now, 8:52 in the morning, and the show goes back over to the 37-year-old from Alaska, USA. That's Will, and he's making a gill net, finishes the gill net, deploys the gill net in the river, and then goes back to finishing that permanent shelter, friends. And the native word for that is a rulik. And he finishes the sod, cutting those big pieces, thick pieces of sod, friends, with his hatchet. And with that big old silky saw, he finishes the roof, puts the tarp on the shelter, and he moves in on day 10 into his permanent shelter. Okay, it's day 10, 11:57 in the morning. The show goes over to Ziga. Ziga is the 35-year-old from Kochevci, Slovenia. He puts a GoPro underwater and he shows us a little bit of underwater biology. There's some snails down underneath there. He says enough of that. And he says his strategy is to use up all of his snare wire, setting snares and trap lines all over his area. He sets a few snares. He builds a little 3-log bridge across this waterway, blocks off 2 sides, and with the opening in the middle, he sets a snare right there. And then he goes over to the berry patch, friends, takes off his shirts, and he's soaking up sun and eating berries. So good on Ziga. All right, day 11 now, 9:04 in the morning. The show goes back over to Will, the 37-year-old from Alaska, USA, and he wakes up and he tells us first night he slept in his permanent shelter, and it feels amazing. He's feeling really good. His permanent shelter is complete. He's got that gill net deployed in the water, and he's resting for the next couple days. He goes down to that gill net, and he catches a nice northern pike, friend, about a 34-inch, 650 calorie, 145 gram protein northern pike. And we see him sitting on the river bank cooking that northern pike with the tripod, little fire underneath, and he's eating northern pike. Good on Will. He's looking strong, friend. Day 10, 1:29 p.m. The show goes over to Ziga. We see him deploy his gill net, and he makes a video. He tries to make a comedy video of a berry picking competition, his dirty hand versus a berry picker that he carves out of wood. And the results of that competition is, I think, his dirty hand won, friends. He gives us the count of how many berries the hand picked versus the wood carved berry picker. And he decides to grab his bow and go for a walk. He sees a duck down in the lake, friends. Gets a shot off with his bow, and looks like he hits it, goes right through it, sees a squirrel right away, boom, hits it with his arrow. He's got a squirrel and a duck, friends. His bow is paying off. So we see him strip down, and he wades out into the lake. He retrieves that duck. He checks his snares, specifically that snare that he set on that 3-log bridge. And first, when he walks up to the bridge, he thinks that his snare wire's gone. He looks a little closer, and he did get a rabbit, and the rabbit fell off the bridge underneath the water, underneath the bridge. So he retrieves that rabbit. He's got a squirrel and a rabbit and a duck so far. And the show cuts over to Will real quick. We see him getting another pike in his gill net. The show bounces real quick over to Jax. She's getting another rabbit. Show bounces over to Poldy. He's getting a fish. And then the show bounces over to Pedrosa. He's getting another rabbit. So, friends, there's plenty of game, plenty of fish to go around for everybody. Everybody's doing really well. And the show ends there, friends. The show ends with the video showing that Ziga got 4 squirrel, 1 duck, 1 rabbit that day on day 10. The show ends right there, friends. Everybody's got a lot of food. All right, friends. Season 13, episode 3, Momentum Building, ends right there. That's the official show notes, the official recap of episode 3, Everybody's looking super strong that we saw in this video. Everybody's getting lots of game, lots of fish, and everybody's looking strong. But I still got my money on Will. Leave me a comment. Let me know who you think's going to win this thing. And I appreciate you stopping by the channel, friends, listening to the show notes. Before you leave, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. Let's get the word out on Alone Season 13. All right. I appreciate everything you do for the channel. All your views, all your likes, all your shares. Most importantly, all your comments. Leave me a comment. Let me know who you think's going to win this thing. All right. Please don't forget to give your life to Christ. Do it today. Don't wait. Don't depart from the faith, friends. And as always, God is good. God is great. I see y'all on the next video. Already got a date.